You've been feeling something, haven't you? Not a sharp pain, not a clear sadness, just a quiet, persistent ache, a sense that something is off, but you can't explain why. It's like carrying an invisible weight on your chest, day after day. You've tried to brush it off. You've told yourself you're just tired, just overthinking, just too sensitive. But what if you're not imagining it? What if your soul has been sounding the alarm for years and you've been trained to ignore it? No, this isn't stress. It's not anxiety. It's something deeper. It's the exhaustion of wearing a mask for too long, of biting your tongue until it bleeds, of twisting yourself into a shape that fits into places you were never meant to belong. And here's the dangerous part. You've started to believe this is normal, that this is what being strong looks like, that being quiet is being kind, that being agreeable is being loved. But let's call it what it is: emotional erosion, a slow leak in the foundation of your identity. Carl Jung saw it before anyone else dared to name it. He didn't just study the mind, he dove into the shadows of the human soul, and what he uncovered wasn't easy to hear. He saw that most people aren't broken by massive trauma. They're broken by the daily silent betrayals, the boundaries they don't defend, the disrespect they excuse, the loneliness they normalize, the roles they accept just to avoid conflict. And worse, we inherit these patterns. We don't just suffer them, we start to live them. We pass them on. Not because we're weak, but because no one taught us how to see the invisible injuries. This video isn't here to comfort you. It's here to wake you, to hold up a mirror, and to show you the 7 emotional behaviors Jung warned were not just toxic, but dangerous to the very core of who you are. They don't scream. They don't knock on the door. They sneak in through laughter, through loyalty, through love. They begin as a whisper and end in self-erasure. So if you're here, it's not by accident. Something inside of you is done. Done pretending. Done performing. Done paying the price of peace with pieces of yourself. But I'll warn you, this isn't a comfortable path. Once you see the truth, you won't be able to unsee it. You'll notice it in conversations, in relationships, in your own reflection. And yes, it will hurt, but it will also liberate you. Let's begin. Number 1. The disguised control. Manipulation as care. It starts with kindness. It always does. Not orders, not insults. Just a gentle suggestion wrapped in concern. I just want what's best for you. You're too sensitive. I didn't mean it that way. You know I love you, right? And so, you quiet your instinct. You override your discomfort. You begin to rationalize what your body knows is wrong. This is not love. This is not support. This is manipulation wearing a velvet glove. Jung knew this wasn't just emotional miscommunication. He called it the subtle war, the distortion of your internal compass. And once someone teaches you to ignore your own truth, you no longer need a cage. You become your own jailer. Manipulation doesn't always raise its voice. It doesn't need to. It just has to make you second-guess yourself. Number 2. The knife wrapped in laughter. Humiliation disguised as humor. Ever laughed while something inside you cracked? You're in a room full of people. Someone throws a joke your way. It sounds light, but it lands heavy. They all laugh. You smile, but you feel smaller. Relax, it's just a joke. Don't be so dramatic. You always take things too seriously. Mockery wrapped in humor is one of the most cowardly forms of aggression. It's violence served with a smile. It chips away at your dignity while giving your attacker an escape route. Jung taught us, the unconscious mind doesn't know it's just a joke. Every repetition gets recorded, embedded, normalized. And here's the sinister twist. People who constantly mock others aren't strong. They're often deeply insecure. They mask their self-hate by keeping others beneath them. But you're not here to be a punchline. You don't owe anyone your silence in exchange for acceptance. Respect is not earned by enduring invisible cuts. Number 3. The mental fog, gaslighting, and the war on reality. One of the cruelest things someone can do is make you question your own reality. Gaslighting isn't loud. It's surgical. It starts small. A denial here, a contradiction there. Until suddenly, you are the problem. You're imagining things. I never said that. You're always twisting my words. And before you know it, you're rewriting your own memories. You start apologizing for what you felt. You start fearing your own truth. Jung called this soul distortion, because when you can no longer trust your own perception, you become vulnerable to anything, to anyone. You're no longer living in your life. You're living in theirs. And that's not a life. That's survival under manipulation. Number 4. Emotional erasure, invalidation, and the death of expression. You try to explain what hurts you. They yawn, they scoff, they roll their eyes. And soon, you stop explaining. You stop feeling safe in your own emotions. You're always overreacting. Why are you so emotional? Here we go again. They're not listening to understand. They're waiting to dismiss. And over time, you internalize a dangerous belief. My emotions are a burden. You become an echo of yourself. Quiet, polished, palatable. But you're not here to make others comfortable. You're here to feel, to be whole, to take up space. Jung warned, the emotions we repress don't disappear. They transform into anxiety, into rage, into silent sadness that has no name. Number 5. The weapon of silence, contempt without words. They don't scream. They don't slam doors. They simply vanish, right in front of you. They stop answering, stop acknowledging, stop seeing you. Not because they're busy, not because they forgot, but because they've chosen silence as a weapon. And you feel it. Every minute of their absence is a needle. You check your phone. You rehearse what you might have done wrong. You question your worth just to explain their coldness. This is not space, it's punishment. Jung described this as the most covert form of psychological warfare, not because of what's done, but because of what's withheld. Validation, affection, presence. You begin to shrink. You stop asking. You lower your voice, hoping to earn your way back into visibility. But here's the truth. People who weaponize silence aren't seeking peace. They're seeking power. And every time you chase their acknowledgement, you give it to them. You were not born to beg for recognition. You don't need permission to exist. Number 6. The virtue that erases you, self-sacrifice as identity. They told you it was noble, that to love is to give, to always be the bigger person, to put yourself last. So you did. You bent, broke, gave, stayed. And now you don't even know where you went. Your needs? Inconvenient. Your voice? Too loud. Your dreams? Maybe later. But here's the hardest truth of all. Not everything you do in the name of love is loving. Sometimes it's self-abandonment, and the world claps for it. They call you strong, selfless, reliable. But no one asks you what's left of you. Jung taught that the psyche needs a center. A self, not a role, not a function, a full breathing identity. When you orbit everyone else, you leave that center empty, and an empty center becomes a perfect breeding ground for resentment, confusion, and despair. You are not a bottomless well. You are not a silent savior. You are allowed to want, to rest, to say no. Number 7. The ultimate surrender, trading dignity for belonging. This is the final wound, the one that doesn't bleed, but scars the soul. After all the manipulation, after the mockery, the gaslighting, the silence, the invalidation, the sacrifice, you convince yourself it's better to stay, to be tolerated than to be alone, to be invisible than to be rejected, to be mistreated than to start over. You stop fighting. You adapt to the mistreatment. You rationalize the neglect. You call it loyalty, but it's resignation. You've accepted crumbs and renamed them comfort. Jung called this psychic death, when the self stops speaking, when you no longer cry, no longer question, no longer dream. You just exist in the shadow of your own potential. But hear this. Contempt is not the price of companionship. Silence is not a substitute for peace. Being included in dysfunction is not belonging. And if this part of the message hurts, it means something in you is still alive, still fighting, still waiting to reclaim your place. Number 8, the awakening. What you do now matters. So here you are, not entertained, not amused, but awake. You've seen the patterns, the poison, the scars, and now comes the choice, the one most people won't make, because staying is easier. Comfortable pain is still comfort. But you didn't watch this by accident. You didn't feel all of this for nothing. You are not the majority. You are the one who has seen the shadow and decided to move through it. You are the one who now knows the truth. And now that you know, you can't go back to sleep. This isn't about blaming others. This is about reclaiming yourself, your energy, your time, your boundaries, your voice. You will lose things, people, places, roles. But what you lose now was already draining you. What remains after the purge is yours. Uncompromised, unshakable, whole. Jung didn't write to comfort the world. He wrote to expose its illusions. And now that your illusions have cracked, don't seal them up again. Don't pretend you didn't feel what you felt. Don't betray your soul to keep someone else's comfort intact. Because here's the truth, no one wants to say out loud. Power isn't being liked. Power is knowing you no longer need to be. So if something sparked inside you today, do something with it. Say the words out loud. Comment below. What I tolerate, I become. Declare it. Not for me, for you. To remind yourself that your peace is no longer up for negotiation. And if you want more content like this, raw, honest, unfiltered, subscribe. Because every video here is not just information. It's a mirror. And every mirror is a chance to finally see yourself again. Now turn off the screen. But don't turn off what just woke up inside you. Walk differently. Speak truth. Set fire to your silence. And live as if your soul finally matters. Because it does.